Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 22 of Artists on Lockdown. I am Ron Onesti from that rock and roll heaven here in St. Charles, outside of Chicago, the Arcada Theater. And we are hanging and banging tonight with some real rock stars, as we do every week. But we have legends on tonight. First of all, our co-hosts, my brothers, my little brother, my lateral brother, Vinny Appice. There he is, Vinny Appice from Last in Line. Don't even start with the freaking shirt thing.
No, I like the shirt. I really like it.
Okay. And then let's just go right away. We want to get right to our special guest. First of all, I want to bring out, obviously, from Vanilla Fudge and the Tom Ford modeling school. Carmine Appice from Vanilla Fudge and so many other projects. Look at you two. Now, look at the difference in fashion statements that you guys are. I mean, look at them both.
I'm modest, but I got my V on it.
Oh, you got a V. See, I got matching hair and shirts.
That's really beautiful. Hey, let's bring to, we've been trying to get this guy for a long time. Again, an iconic guy. Hit paraders, one of the top 100 metal vocalists of all time. Our good buddy, I know he's your good buddy, Mr. Dee Snider. Hey, buddy.
Dee Snider.
Hey, guys. I don't even know what that means, 100 top metal vocalists in Hit Parader.
Exactly. Well, Hit Parader magazine determined the 100 top vocalists in heavy metal, and you are one of them.
Guys, have you ever been on any of these lists?
You are 99.
Yeah. You see a number. You feel pretty good, but you see who's above you.
Right.
And Tom Soraya from Slayer. But wait a minute. I'm 47. He's 46. I mean, I love him, but anyway. But so yeah, it's all good. But I'm glad to be here, guys.
You are looking good, man. Where are you? What you been doing? Keeping all this lockdown crap.
New York is behind me. I will always be a New Yorker, and I love, just like you guys, love New York. But as Al Pacino said in Dog Day Afternoon, F the cold, Sal. So we're on the West Coast, and we got a house in Belize right on the beach, and I'm tan all the time. So and I'm happy. I'm done being a vampire.
So I gotta ask you,
and no winter this year.
Yeah,
no winter. Forget the winter. I want winter. You know, guys on the West Coast, guys. You go up to Big Bear.
Yeah, you go to Big Bear.
The last two Christmases, we went up to Big Bear, got a log cabin. It snowed up there. We're there for 2 days. It was all beautiful and Christmassy. Then back down to the beach. So
that's it.
How do you wind up with a house in Belize, of all places?
Went down there. My wife wanted to swim with the whale sharks. I didn't know what Belize was. Formerly British Honduras. For the older listeners.
I didn't know that.
Honduras. And then it was like, wow, this is like, nobody really knows about this place. And we got a piece of property and built a house, and it's all good. It's great. So, but anyway. But let's talk about rock and roll. What do we talk about on the show besides where we live?
We talk about anything.
Anything.
We talk about anything.
We
talk about Ron's shirts. We talk about my silly shirt.
It's the message of Ron's shirt that I appreciate more than anything. The cover of my last album, which went to number 20 on the Billboard charts, by the way. Went number 20 on the charts. Drake and Beyonce were looking around going, what's that old white dude doing here? And so that was like
it's a great project. It has live footage, of course, but it's got behind the scenes footage. It's got commentary. I mean, it's a great project. How long did you spend a lot of time on it?
Well, the live album, for the Love of Metal Live, my managers think I'm some kind of Nostradamus, because last spring I told them I won't be doing any shows in 2020.
You're right.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're like, how did you know this, so wise one? And I just didn't want to do any shows. So they said, well, what will we do in the meantime? I said, let's put out a live album. And so we started filming it all last summer. And it's a good time for a live album to come out. For the Love of Metal Live, it's filmed in 9 different countries. And it turned out really great. I'm really happy with it. And while, and now's a good time. People looking for live entertainment, check out DVD, the Blu-ray, the live CD for the Love of Metal Live.
That's great. It's got all
Who's in the band? Who's in the band, D?
Well, I got a bunch of young guns that anybody would know, but we've all been the young gun at some point. At some point, I was the young gun in Twisted Sister. I was younger than all those guys.
Yep.
And they light a fire under your ass. I think they bring out the best in you. Not saying the old guys don't got it, but it's nice when you're surrounded with some hungry guys who are looking to prove themselves. And I'm always telling them, just go for it. Do your best to blow me off the stage. But it just fires me up. And so there's a lot of raw, fresh energy. Nikki and Charlie Belmore out of Connecticut, some hardcore metal guys, and I'm kind of blanking out on the other Russ Pizzuto and Taz on guitar, and they've just turned in. It started as Side Guys, but after 2 years, it was a day. Can you curse on this thing or no? What's
sure.
Yeah, well, it says Dee fucking Snider on you.
Oh, that's true.
I know.
My wife Suzette, we've been together 44 years now,
Yep.
and she's seen it all. And one day she said, after a show with the new band, she came backstage and said, they don't look like much, but they kick fucking ass. She's from Bensonhurst, guys. She's a Bensonhurst girl.
Hey, all right.
Yeah, the neighborhood.
Sure.
I said, you know what? She's right. Somewhere along the way, the Sidemen turned into a band. So we're working on a new record for next year, and they'll be the band for the record. So
cool.
Well, it's a great project. Obviously, it has all the hits, couple other songs, and it has a couple songs you don't normally do live, right, Dee?
Yeah, well, For Love of Metal was my biggest record since the 80s. Like I said, it went to 20 on the Billboard charts, and I haven't been on the charts since the 80s. And then I did some Twisted stuff, but it's detuned and a little updated, a little more, to make it a little bit more metallic and fit with the new music. But I also do some stuff for my band Widowmaker, Ill-Fated Band.
Yep.
And
Did you do Evil?
No, we didn't do Evil, but that Widowmaker played Evil. Man,
you were the first guys that I knew that were famous that covered Evil.
We are huge. Widowmaker is a band with Al Pitrelli, who was with Megadeth and TSO, and Alice and a lot of people. Mark Russell is on bass, and Joe Franco.
Yeah, one of my students.
Oh, one of your students literally was on drums. And we used to, during rehearsals, we started warming up on Evil. Now me and Franco were Cactus fans, but the younger guns, again, Mark and Al Pitrelli, they were like, "Who's this? Who's Cactus?" We're like, "Dude, sit down, sit down." He was cool. So we used to warm up with Evil all the time, and when we were recording the first album, it was like, "Why don't we just record Evil?" And what a song to play! What a challenging, incredible song to play. God bless you, Carmine.
Yeah, great song.
Great song. I mean, we've been lucky. It's been covered by, too bad we didn't write it, but it's been covered by every year for the last 3 years. Some other big group has done it, Are
they doing the Cactus version?
Yeah.
I mean, the original version, who was it? Willie Dixon?
Well, we got it from Howlin' Wolf.
Howlin' Wolf,
You listen to the Howlin' Wolf version, it's just like there's no comparison. This is why I think arrangement should get writing credit when it's that distinctive. Right. I mean, and I'm blowing a lot of smoke here. Sorry, Vinny, but your brother, I grew up with him. Huge fan of yours, though. You work with Black Sabbath, and everybody's just incredible. But you go back to the Fudge and your cover of Keep Me Hanging On. I mean, that was like eye-opening for me. Yeah. And when you guys reformed and you did Walk On By, dude. Yeah. I mean, as original and Bang Bang, and you're always doing, Eleanor Rigby, these such original arrangements that it makes it a new song. I mean, so dramatically, it seems it should be a royalty stream.
Well, like in the old days with Frank Sinatra and all that, you had arrangers come in to arrange songs, and they paid them for that.
Right.
They paid them big money to write out the arrangement.
Yeah, and there's nothing for arrangements, and when it's that distinctive, like Evil, it does. You're introducing a whole new audience to a song they never would have heard.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
Interesting.
That's your Nelson Riddles of the day. So, Christmas is coming. You know, you guys, I don't know if you guys know that Mr. Dee Snider is a former Chicago resident. He was here, I don't know, was it 6 or 8 weeks, Dee, with his show, the Rock and Roll Christmas Play, which was
but then we rehearsed there, and I was there several months. I really, you know, I mean, you guys, you've traveled the world, and, you know, we say we've been to every place, but I never felt like I was any place, because you're in, you're out, you're on the bus, it's one hotel, another hotel, and the arenas blend together, you know, and you don't really get to know a city or a town till you're maybe recording an album or something, and you get to spend a little time and move around and see a town. So I've been to Chicago so many times, but I could never say that I knew the city. But when I did the Rock and Roll Christmas Tale, a musical that I wrote, and we staged it in Chicago, I got to spend 4 or 5 months there, and what a city! Fell in love with the city, as my wife Suzette called it, New York's prettier younger sister. It's a great town.
Unfortunately, it's Twisted Sister the way it looks. It's it's not good, and it's really it's sad and it's hurtful and it's painful. But we'll come back strong. We definitely will. But you know what? Do you have any thoughts of bringing back your Christmas? It was a fabulous project.
Oh, thanks. Well,
I mean, it's probably half a dozen times.
We staged in Chicago to reviews, and that's what it's about. You're taking it out of town. Regrouped. I rewrote it. Went up to Toronto. Got 5-star reviews in Toronto, but we haven't staged it since Toronto. So I only did it for 2 years. I hope to do it again. I'd like to think the show, you know, is the spirit of the show. It's about a band that sells its soul for rock and roll, but winds up finding the magic of Christmas instead. I don't want to give away the end of the show, but it's. I mean, there's a satanic pact signed. There's a conjuring, and then there's an exorcism, and it has a beautiful Christmas moment in it as well. So
fabulous.
Hopefully, it gets a chance to see the light of day again.
Wow. You know what? Dee Snider is one of the most multifaceted entertainers you'll ever meet. I mean, he's constantly reinventing himself. You do so much voiceover work that people don't realize that you've been doing over the years too.
Yeah, right now I'm narrating a show called Breaking the Band on the Reels Network. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but I don't know if you guys have been on there yet. It's about band breakups, and it's on Reels channel. But during COVID, a lot of people have been binge watching and discovering it. So, and the show is about 24 episodes in, and it's starting to build an audience. It's pretty great. But I'm filming. I don't film. I'm the voice, but I'm doing a very odd episode this week. I record one where it's about Twisted Sister breaking up. Oh, wow. So I'm narrating a show about me breaking up my own band. So instead of breaking the fourth wall, they're actually going to have a camera in the studio to allow me to react to some of the stuff people are saying about me. I'm going to be getting bad rapped all over the place, and I'm like, hey, you know, and I'm supposed to narrate these people talking shit about me. So it's going to be an interesting episode.
And you know what? Can you recall, or from any of these 24 episodes, what was the most tumultuous breakup that they've talked about? Which band?
You know, oddly, we've all seen the behind the musics, and they're almost cookie cutters of each other. Yeah. You know, the conflicts are almost always the same, and there's the drug issues and the alcohol issues and the ego issues and all that stuff. And I can't remember any one in particular thing where there definitely been times where I go, whoa, I didn't know that, you know, like stupid Fleetwood Mac. I used to send a plane to get pizza from another town because they didn't want to have the pizza that was local. This is when they were recording Africa, or whatever that album was, that ill-fated record. So, I mean, you read some of the wretched excess and you go, man, you know, I thought we were stupid. I mean, this guy, we were. What's the stupidest thing your band's ever did, Vinny? What do you think of?
Oh my God! Well, we were in Record Plant Studios in L.A., and it took us 3 weeks to get a bass sound. And you know how much that was in a day, per day, how much money that was. So just
talk about the money we wasted. Like somehow before we had the money, we managed to like make magic. Then we get unlimited budgets, and we're just like blowing it. We could just take that money and put it in our pockets right now. My God.
Yeah. Now we're back to square one.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll do it in my studio here at home,
I think me and Vinny should break up Drum Wars and be on your show.
Yes. Yes. They hate each other in real life.
Right.
You've got, obviously the anthem, we're not going to take it anymore. You've talked about it ad nauseum, thousands of times. But you know what? It seems to represent so many social issues, especially now. And sometimes, has it ever represented an issue that you weren't really behind? Like, it's like, hey, wait a second. Don't be using my song.
Well, first of all, my manager, Phil Carson, said, and he's managed some very big artists and been involved with some of the biggest bands in the world. He said, my boy, if you're only going to write 2 hits, make them doozies. So unfortunately, We're Not Going to Take It and I Want to Rock have just been cash cows. I Want to Rock was like on this past year's Super Bowl for the Facebook campaign.
Wow.
And We're Not Going to Take It was in Ready Player One with Steven Spielberg movie. And so they just keep existing. But yeah, a matter of fact, I'm dealing with a lawsuit in Australia right now where they call him the Australian Donald Trump, a supposed billionaire politician who started using We're Not Going to Take It on a commercial campaign, changing the words, re-recorded it to promote his political views and didn't license it. He went into his people approached Universal licensing, and they were told what it would cost or whatever, and he went off and just decided he wasn't going to pay a penny. So Universal Publishing has decided to make a stand because there are people like this who think they can do this. Yeah. On Monday, I'm going to be testifying in a court trial. I was challenging my authorship on the song. He said I didn't write it; it was ghost written. Accused me of plagiarism. So I have to go to court. I have to go to court to defend. We're Not Going to Take It after 35 years. Having copyright. Because basically, this guy doesn't want to pay. He's claiming all sorts of things. It was parody. He doesn't have to pay, and all sorts of things. So anyway, and I guess when Arnold Schwarzenegger contacted me and wanted to use a song, I'm a big Arnold fan, and I said absolutely. But there are people like Paul Ryan, like Donald Trump. Donald, we were friends. When he first started running for office, he called me, said, "Hey, I want to use We're Not Going to Take It." I said, "Raise some hell, brother! Raise some hell!" And then after like 4 months, I had to call him and say, "Listen, man, we're not on the same page with a lot of things. I need you to stop using it." And to his credit, he stopped using it that night. And he said, "Hey, man," and I remember saying, "Look, are we cool?" And he said, "Look, we've done a lot of charity work for children's cancer with St. Jude's, for the roller rink in Central Park. We've done a lot of charity work together. Of course, we're cool. We don't agree on certain things, but doesn't mean you can't still be friends." So, so sometimes there's times when I say, "Listen, I prefer you don't use it."
Oh, what is the campaign that you were most proud of it was used for?
Okay, this is going to seem odd to you guys, but there was a woman's premenopausal medication a number of years ago. You wanted to use We're Not Going to Take It. And at first, honestly, I was taken aback. And I said, but it was a 6-figure payday. I had 2 kids in college. And I said, all right, what does it do? What is it doing? And they started running down a grocery list of symptoms. And then they got to helps with vaginal dryness. And
Yes!
Whoa! I am absolutely against vaginal dryness. And I think everybody out there will agree with me.
I agree with you.
I agree with doing God's work. So I okayed the commercial. So I'm very proud of helping to stop vaginal dryness.
Wow, you know what? You're such a giver, Dee. You're a giver.
Exactly. And when I talk about this on stage, sometimes I'll see some young girl out there who seems indifferent. I go, "You know what, honey? Give it 20 years. We'll be blowing dust out of your hooter. You'll be begging for this shit.
You'll be wearing a T-shirt with my picture on it."
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Dee Snider.
That's funny.
That is hysterical. Hey, are you guys going to be, I know the lovely Suzette loves Chris's decorations. Are you still going to be doing that this year?
Well, that's one of the things we just Carmine and I spoke about. I said Carmine and I just spoke about moving into. We just both recently moved, which is insane, and moving. And but we had been sort of bouncing around, condo here and apartment there. But my wife, we got 4 kids, we have 4 grandkids, and she's like, she's Italian. And she's like, I want to have Sauce Sunday again.
Yes.
Yeah, we're having Sauce Sunday this Sunday, by the way, guys.
Yeah, Sauce
what I mean?
Sunday.
Gravy.
Yeah,
Gravy Sunday.
Gravy.
Yeah, and she's like, I want to have a family over for Thanksgiving. I want to have Christmas in our house.
Yeah.
So that's what we got a real house again for the first time in about 6 years. And Sauce Sunday this Sunday. So if you're in the area in LA, come on down.
Let Ron bring the meatballs. He makes the best meatballs.
Yeah, you got the meatballs.
Suzette Gargiulo is back in action. So
Well, let me tell you something. We did a show. I don't know if you remember this, Dee. It was just a great show. You just freaking killed it. We did a Voices of Rock. They had Bret Michaels on it. I had Tommy Kiefer on it, and then we had Dee Snider on it. All 3 guys, and they all did their show. Then Dee came out and did the Kiss song, Rock All Night, Party Every Night, Party Every Day, rather. And it was amazing. It was outdoors, I don't know if you remember. And then afterwards, Dee and his wife, and me and my wife, we all just had dinner. And we all had tomahawk steaks. This freaking big.
I remember.
All 4 of us. Remember that?
And they said, well, the tomahawk's usually for 2. And I said, well, I just didn't say I'm really hungry.
Yeah, so 2, okay, there's 4 of us. We got 4 tomahawk steaks, and there was nothing left but the bones.
Oh, yeah, man.
So you know what? I mean, we got some questions from our viewers here, some that you've, again, answered 1,000 times. But if you would indulge us, the inspiration for your persona that you came out in the 80s, the whole MTV era, where did that inspiration come from?
Carmine's phone.
Yeah. What was the ringtone on that?
I'll call you back. I'll call you back.
That's a lot.
A little light. That was a little light.
That's my ringtone from my BlackBerry from 11 years ago.
BlackBerry.
It ain't broke. Don't fix it. So, certainly there was the New York Dolls, Glitter Rock, Alice Cooper, David Bowie, Twisted Sister was born back then. There's a documentary called We Are Twisted Fucking Sister, which is on Amazon. It's highly rated. It shows that the band existed for 10 years before 1984. It formed in 74.
Yeah.
Okay, I joined in 76.
Right.
So it came out of that glitter rock thing, but it was really just we came out of the glitter rock into the disco era, and we were just looking for trouble, looking to get attention, and nothing gets more attention than a face full of makeup and women's clothing. I'll say that right now.
Back then, for sure.
Yeah,
now
looking for trouble in the suburbs of Long Island and New Jersey, just wear what I was wearing. So it really just evolved from that, and it was really just like, hey, you're going to pay attention to us. You're not going to be able to look away. And it just kept evolving and growing and growing.
It really underscored the whole generation, the whole era. It was really incredible, added so much to it. Okay, so 2016, you advertised, we talked about the band breakups earlier. Well, yours, we think 2015, 2016, it was the 40th anniversary tour, right?
Yeah, well, AJ passed away in 2014. I'm assuming you guys knew AJ.
Yeah.
Very rare Italian drummer. You don't see many of those.
Very rare.
With curly hair, brown curly hair. There's like none around.
What kind of shirt did he wear? I think that's the important question.
I know it was sparkly, but AJ passed away, and it really took the wind out of our sails. I know a lot of people, keep it on, and for us. AJ was the youngest guy in the band, but he was the only nice one, and he really was the driver. So, but also he was the most prolific. He had 5 kids, and he didn't do a lot of estate planning or anything like that. So we were going to call it a day when he passed, and then we realized that he needed some help. So Mike Portnoy, who was a friend of AJ's, and oddly, he had a band meeting. We're like, look, because we're only doing like 25 shows a year. We were not touring heavily, and the shows were big money, and they meant a lot. Being honest, it meant a lot economically. And so like, well, look, what happens if somebody gets sick or something happens with a family, they can't make a show? So everybody picked a replacement in case there was rather than cancel, they'd have a fill-in. And AJ picked Mike Portnoy.
Wow.
And 4 months later, he died. And so it wasn't the reason he picked Mike Portnoy, but it felt like it was sort of like his voice. He had said, this is the guy I want to fill in for me. So Mike, and to his credit, and I know you know Mike, and I know he gets some shit sometimes about being a little egotistical. He was the classiest, most egoless person. He learned every single thing AJ played live and just played it drum hit for hit, crash for crash, did not vary one iota at one show, and would not do a solo. He refused. He said, look, I'm not doing a drum solo. So we had actually filmed AJ his second to last show, just coincidentally, and we would lower screen, and when the drum solo came, AJ would play the drum solo every night.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really, people would be crying. I mean, I'm getting chills right now. It was, but so bravo, Mike Portnoy. For 2 years, he stood in for AJ as AJ would have played, and we raised some money for his family, and we said farewell on the 40th Bucket tour. But that was it. That was 2016. So there's no plan to go back.
And that's it. I mean, Mike's a great guy. He's got so many between Dream Theater and Winery Dogs and just so many other things he's doing. But for him to fill in like that, and I can see it. He does. There's no secret. He's kind of a tough guy to deal with sometimes, but he knows what he wants. He's a consummate professional. But I can also see it, him filling in like that he's got a big heart, and I can see him doing it, man. I wish I would have seen that, man.
Yeah,
and this year, Mike and his new band, whatever band it was, they did Evil this year.
Oh, wow.
They were the band that did Evil this year.
No kidding.
Mike is, look, he's a fan of all of us. He's younger than us. And he used to come see Twisted Sister in the bars on Long Island. So, for him, he's pretty honest about, very honest about his respect and admiration for us, the people he grew up on. And I'm sure he's showing you guys nothing but respect.
Were you in Twisted when Joey Markowski was in Twisted?
Oh yeah, Joey.
Joey's the guy that taught. He's the one that taught in my studio. That taught Joe Franco.
I know, Fast Joey. We called him Fast Joey Brighton.
Yeah, right.
Is what his name were. And he was immortalized in a Good Rats song called
Tasty.
And we should have paid attention to the words of that song, because the words are, we had a drummer named Joe. He played so fast, we let him go. And we ended up with his name, Fast Joey Brighton. Sometimes, and I'm into speed, man, but I would turn around, and he looked like the cover of that King Crimson album. And may you rest in peace, by the way, Joey.
Yeah, I know, terrible.
But he would be like, I swear, if his riser had wheels, it would have gone off the front of the stage and headed down 95. Okay, because he was going so fast.
Oh my God!
Yeah, man.
He passed away. He passed away, Joey.
Yeah, he passed away. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Vinny went out and stayed with his friends at my studio in Oceanside. I had two houses. The one house I lived in, I moved to Cold Spring Harbor. Beautiful house there. So I turned my regular house into a drum studio, and Joe used to teach there. So Vinny would go out there and stay with his friends when I was out on the road. And tell him what you did to my house, Vin.
Well, we kind of destroyed the house. It was really bad. It was really bad. We were taking the sun on the roof, in Long Island. Let's put the speaker up there.
We're talking big speakers. I used to sit in between them. They're like 4 feet high, and he put them outside on top of it was an enclosed porch. And my neighbor, when I came home, said, "These kids were driving me crazy. They had the music loud. They're outside on the,
Carmine,
I said, what are you doing?
You fucked up.
Oh man, he never stayed there again.
So Vinny, you're growing up with this guy, this older brother of yours, legendary drummer, and all those bands that around the Fudge and Cactus. Beside those guys, who are the bands that you really looked up to, Vin?
Well, Zeppelin, Hendrix.
Sure.
Hendrix was cool because it was 3-piece. It was like, wow. I used to play a lot of the records on 16. Sometimes just to learn the drum lick. But I love the heavy sound of how it's 16 sounded,
So was that the inspiration for your drumming on Sign of the Southern Cross?
Yes.
That sounded like it was on 16.
That's from playing with Iommi, I mean, it doesn't budge, he's right in the pocket and behind the beat,
Yeah.
So,
the opposite of Joey Brighton.
Yeah, the opposite of Joey. He played so behind the beat that you got to finish it one day.
Yeah.
So we got the tragic loss. Obviously, we talked about a little bit of AJ, and I know there was no plans. But in light of what's happened with no shows at all, in light of the fact that it's the 45th anniversary in 21, do you think there's a shot at all that you guys may get together?
I love the guys, and I just saw Eddie the other night. He's talking to JJ and Animal. We're all friends. I had it took a lot to start getting some ground with my solo career, and for the love of metal, actually connected with as a sound and with the audience. And I had songs that people in the crowd were singing for a change. As opposed to going to take a piss during the new song, the bathroom break. I swear, if you had a problem with going to the bathroom, just listen to these words. Here's one off the new album. You'll have to call the race course. You can see people streaming out of the room the minute you say those words. It's insulting. We can see you, people. We see you leaving.
I thought it was the bass solo.
That'll do it too.
That'll do it. That's when the girls really go. The girls go out.
You're right.
Here comes the bass solo.
So I'm not looking to go back to the future and just starting to get some ground with a new sound and a new band. But I've always said that the band, I would get together with the band and we've all said for a charity event or a special event, or do a song for say they've been talking about doing New York Steel again, Eddie Trunk's thing for the victims of 9/11 and the families, something like that, we would do it. But as far as putting the band back together, I don't see that happening.
What about for vagina dryness?
Vaginal dryness week. I hear they're going to make a week out of that.
Is there an over wetness possibility that you're going to go fighting for? Is that even possible? I don't know if that's even possible.
Vaginal dryness.
That is really funny.
You never know. You never know.
Hey, that's a good name for a band.
Vaginal dryness.
I think there is a death metal band called Vaginal Dryness.
Yeah, actually, I think there is.
Well, associating death with vaginal dryness, I can understand it absolutely.
It's killing me.
You know what? One of the best reads out there that you'll ever get is "Shut Up and Give Me the Mic." It's a great read.
Thank you.
Are you still referencing that? When you're at the shows, because there's some people didn't even realize you had a book out that came out. Now it's almost like 8 years now.
Yeah. Shut Up and Give Me the Mic. My memoirs. I wrote them myself. And they're coherent.
Yeah, right.
But it wasn't about sex, drugs, and rock and roll because I never did drugs. I've been with the same woman 44 years, and trust me, now there's Facebook. Nothing's a secret. If I was at Facebook, I know more guys who got divorced after Facebook than you want to know about. So I don't, I was boring in that respect. But my book was about, having one of those kids who had the dream, fighting for that dream, achieving your life's dreams, and then screwing it up and falling dramatically and losing everything. Because, and unfortunately, don't worry about me, people. Everything's fine. But people need to know that even rock stars get knocked down, and it's about getting back up and fighting again, you know, and we've all been through it in some capacity. So I wanted to share that story. Of course, nobody's interested in that. They want to know you did, how much heroin you did. And by the way,
my book was called "Stick It: My Life of Sex, Drums, and Rock and Roll."
There you go. By the way, and by the way,
I was married 5 times, so there you go.
These heroin addicts who are writing books, they're full of shit. Because if you don't know any heroin addicts, they can't find their dick, let alone a pencil to jot down. So fucked up. But yeah, you remember shit, okay? Make everything up.
That's the thing about the book. That's the thing about the book. It is positive. It's uplifting. And maybe you say that they weren't interested, Dee, back then when it came out in 2012, 2013, 14. But I can tell you, under today's circumstances, when you're looking around and darkness and flames and stuff going, you know where to turn. This book is a great read. I would say more so now than it was when it came out in 2012.
Well, I tried to make it like a little motivational. It has like a lot of life lessons, because one of the things I learned, we're similar in a lot of ways. And, you know, maybe our lifestyle, rock star versus accountant, is different. There's a lot of things we deal with in the world that are similar, and you can learn lessons from each other, you know? So I try to share some of this stuff. But I just finished actually my first novel, which I'm shopping a deal for now, a fictional novel. And I was supposed to be directing my first movie in May, but COVID happened. So I'll be doing that in 2021. And I'm just signing a deal to write another movie, a reimagining of a horror classic from the 80s. You know, while everybody else was getting high, I was working on my writing skills. So for the last 30 years, I've really been committed, but like anything, to working on my screenplay writing, and I'm finally hitting my stride. So I'm actually starting to get things made and getting jobs doing writing screenplays, which is pretty cool.
What was that movie you did?
Strangeland. That was in the 90s. That was my first produced picture. And, you know, it was ahead of its time. It is a cult film, but I've been really working at it. You know, it's
I saw it.
You can't just say I've been doing radio 25 years. You have to it's a craft. You can't just say I'm going to, you know, just because you're a good drummer or a good singer doesn't mean you can play football. You know what I mean? You gotta practice, you gotta work it in craft. And I've been working at writing, so I'm starting to hit my stride at the ripe old age of 65. I better start putting out some stuff quick.
Hey, can you touch? I mean, if not, we understand. But can you touch a little bit on the novel? What that premise
Yeah,
is?
I will. You know, the novel is it's the absolute wrong book for these times. It's a coming of age story about a white male growing up on Long Island, something nobody cares about. So he's not gay. He's not a girl. He's not a person of color, and in a lily white town. But it's kind of the movie The Outsiders. You remember that movie, The Outsiders?
Yeah,
that book, The Outsiders, is kind of that for the 70s and where I grew up. And there was a whole gang scene. They call themselves fraternities, but they look like college fraternities, but they were glorifying gangs. And they sort of ruled the high school. And they only existed on the South Shore of Long Island, actually.
What town were you talking
I was from
about?
Baldwin, Long Island.
Yes.
And it was
that was my house. I had the house in Oceanside.
Okay, well, in Oceanside, it was existing too, the whole fraternity scene. Oceanside, Baldwin, Freeport, Rockville Center, Uniondale, and they used to fight, and it was ugly. And I wrote it. So it's a fictional story based in that reality of that time. It's called Frats. So I'm hopefully get it published soon. And like I said, I am literate, and I have been working at my writing craft for 30 years now. So I'm actually learned how to conjugate a verb, and hopefully you'll enjoy the book.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, being multifaceted. You're talking about from MTV to SpongeBob, you know, to a song for Celine Dion. I mean, you know, who are you?
Oh, yeah, that was a weird one, too. The Magic of Christmas. The only song I didn't write for commercial purposes, Celine Dion I wrote it as a gift to my wife. She asked me to write her a Christmas song, and I wrote it. I had some people demoed it for her, and I gave it to her Christmas. Cut to 4 years later, I get a call. The engineer on the session played it for Celine Dion, and she wanted to record it. And so the first thing I said, now I'm at a low point in my career, and financially, and you know, all things. And I said, and she's like the biggest recording artist in the world. And I said, does she know who wrote the song? And they didn't tell her yet. I said, do not tell her that Satan wrote her fucking Christmas song. I said, shut the fuck up and put it on the record. And that album is the biggest selling holiday record in history, 14 million copies.
Woo!
It's so she's Saint Celine in my house, and we honor her every year.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
With a candle by the tree.
Wow, dude.
Oh, when I think of Christmas warmth, I think of that holiday duet between Dee Snider and Celine Dion. Don't you guys?
I didn't sing it. I did not sing on it. But this said, I actually recorded. I re-recorded it this year with Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm.
Yeah, Hailstorm. Wow.
We did a duet on it, and we did it like the version Celine has is a real Christmas song. We did it more TSO Queen-like. And we recorded it, and we're going to be releasing it this holiday season. And Lizzie's on there.
That's a freaking voice.
And let me tell you, do you guys know Lizzie Hale? I mean,
Yeah.
she did
I don't know.
so
Yes, I
talented,
do.
old school inspired. Her band's called Hailstorm. You got all the right influences. And I went and I recorded my tracks. She went and recorded her tracks. They sent me her tracks. I was like, oh, fuck, I have to go back to the studio. Because she had that young gun lighting a fire under her ass. I said, you son of a bitch. Fuck you, Hale. I said, she said, what? I said, no, that's good. But I didn't record that because you went in and you were on fire, this young kid trying to make a name for herself. And I think I phoned it in, but I went back in and re-recorded it. So
no, it's a steampunk band. She's amazing. It's a great. I can't wait to hear that. I mean, where you say you're to release it? How in what format, or is it going to be on their record?
We're doing it on cassette. We decided to really go old school. Only cassette, single. It's going to be a single only. So dig out those cassette players, people. And
I got one right there.
Actually, they're putting it together. She's on Atlantic.
Who's gonna any label, or are you gonna do it yourself?
I don't even know what's going on. We recorded it. Our people are handling it, and so I don't know if we're just going to release it on our own, or it's going to be through Atlantic, or I'm with Napalm. It isn't their cup of tea, really. So I don't know, but that's being handled right now. But we just finished recording it. So
I cannot wait to hear your two voices on the same song. It's got to be freaking incredible.
It sounds good.
Oh,
but I said, thank you for reminding me what the job is. You know what I mean? Reminding me that I got to be honest. I used to spend so much time in the studio. Now I go in, it's like one take or two takes. All right, put it together, and it'll
be fine. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine, right? You can fix that in the mix, right? It's a little bit, you kind of start getting spoiled. And when Lizzie sent her tracks, I was just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I cannot be upstaged by this. What is she, 20-something-year-old?
Yeah.
You know? And she still upstages me. She upstages me, but I wrote the song, so I get points for that.
No, it's good. It's hard to beat. I mean, that's a combination of Joan Jett, and you got some of the Vixen in her. I mean, it's just a great band. Obviously, our show last week, just like everybody, just like you on House of Hair, of course, we all touched a little bit on the loss of Eddie, and I don't know what can be said that hasn't been said about Eddie, but I would kind of like your take on it, Dee.
Look, you mentioned my radio show, The House of Hair. I've been doing that 23 years, 250 cities. So to have something like that because we're losing people. This is just the reality of the world, reality of life. So to be able to honor people, and we've got a show coming up in a week where we honor Eddie on the show. There's just been too many people being honored lately. But Eddie Van Halen, I remember when I heard Eruption the first time, and me and Mendoza were driving home from a bar gig in New Jersey. It was the 70s, and they debuted it at 4 in the morning. It was like the debut of who was Van Halen. So they let the overnight guy run with it. I was debut, and he goes, and this is NEW or something, and they do Eruption. And you remember the first time you heard Eruption?
Yeah,
and Mendoza and I were looking at each other and going, that's it. The guitar will never be the same. And it was like when you heard Hendrix for the first time.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
he
was the head of that generation.
Yes, and he,
You know what's funny, Dean? When I met Eddie, they were big Cactus fans, and he said, "You know what Eruption is?" I said, "No, what's Eruption?" I never even heard it.
Yeah.
He said, "It's the beginning of your Cactus song, Let Me Swim."
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Little known fact
Wow.
there, man.
Right? You know, with the chord would hit and the McCartney go, blam, 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 and then we went into the song.
You know what? That was beautiful that he was that honest about it.
Yeah, I never heard it. I never heard it before.
Because McCartney does not get nearly the recognition he deserves.
Oh, no.
McCartney should be. I remember I was interviewing Ted Nugent on VH1, and I said, "You know, you're from Detroit, man. Do you know Jim McCartney?"
Forget it. He waved.
He stopped. He looked at the camera. He says, "Let me tell you something," and he just preached about Jim McCartney.
No kidding.
And he says, "You kids go now go and listen to Jim McCartney because you know it's just unfortunate there are great players who don't get that kind of recognition."
Yeah, we had Ted on our show a couple of weeks ago, and he did the same thing.
Yeah.
Actually, next week we're doing an all guitar tribute to Eddie. We got Ted, we got Steve Morse. Who else we got? Pat Travers, Rick Derringer, Bumblefoot, and Bruce Kulick.
Man. That's
so
beautiful.
All six of them are going to be on the show next week talking about Eddie.
Oh, can I tell you my Eddie Van Halen?
Please.
Out of body experience.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys all know the NAMM show, you know, the annual National Association of Music, and they used to have the NAMM Jam.
Right.
Guitar used to stage the NAMM Jam. It was a big deal. So I was at the NAMM show and I'm hanging with Leslie West. Leslie and I are friends, and you know, and walking with Leslie through something like the NAMM Jam, he is deified in that community. He is Leslie West, and everybody, you know, shows that respect to Leslie. So Leslie was going to be playing at the NAMM Jam, so he was sound checking, and I don't want to sit in the seats, and I was there with Leslie for sound check, so I pulled out a folding chair and I put it on the stage, and I'm sitting on the stage, and while Leslie's testing his equipment and he's sound checking, and Eddie Van Halen walks out with a guitar and
come on,
and Leslie's standing on one side of me like this, Eddie stands on the other side, and I'm in the middle, like I'm right here, and they start trading licks.
Oh,
and my mind's blowing, and I'm going, how am I supposed to behave in this area? Do I fan out? Do I leave? Is that insulting? Are you trying to show the right amount of like you're into it without seeming like stupid? But if Leslie wasn't there to tell me, yeah, dude, that actually happened, I would think I dreamt it. Because to be this close to Leslie West's hands and Eddie Van Halen just dueling, I will never forget that. Never.
Wow.
You know what's so cool? And you know, you got a guy like Dee Snider who's so accomplished, Vinny, Carmine, Ted Nugent, you know, and when I do these things, there's little old me, right? But you know what I love about you guys really is this sincere, deep respect you have for these guys. I mean, I never once you're like, yeah, he's all right. It's you always have this deep respect, and also you're not shy to show and to share just how much an effect these guys like Carmine, guys like Leslie, guys even like Eddie had an effect on you and your own personal development. It's just great to see that.
I think if you ever lose the fan in you that made you want to get up there and play in the first place, you ever lose that, you're a complete ass.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure there was a time, because I've seen it, that there was a time maybe in your career you're like, yeah, he was all right. No, because you were so cool, right, Dee? All you guys were so cool, and it was like, well, you were not going to give anybody any props, but now that you're where you're at, you're truly giving them the props they deserve.
No, that's not true. I would always give people props and respect, and my wife just gave me the sign. We're as a construction worker here, and needs to get into my studio. But I just want to not up note. Did you see that tweet from David Crosby?
I heard about that.
Halen?
Yeah, terrible.
What did he say?
They asked him what his feelings about Eddie Van Halen, and his tweet said, "Meh."
Oh my God.
H. And
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Wow.
and man, I mean, if you have nothing nice to say, don't answer the fucking tweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just not, nobody's been great since Hendrix. Then he tried to backpedal because people like me, everyone was just going off and just attacking him. And then and he tried to explain it. And basically the explanation was like, I'm sorry, I'm saying he's dead, but he never really did much for me.
Yeah.
You know,
we did a rock camp with him, rock fantasy camp, and he was mean to everybody.
Yeah. Well,
the campers playing
fuck
a
him
song.
and his mustache.
All
right. Guys, I gotta go. You can finish this up without me.
Hey, he was always like that. When we used to do gigs back in the day with Vanilla Fudge and all that, he was never really nice. He was always egoed out. And
Nice. Hey,
and you know what the tweets are going to be when David Crosby dies? And it's coming, brothers. I know I already got my tweet ready.
Man, Dean, thank you so much for joining us. You're a rock star deep down, and you're one of us, one of the guys. We love you and all the best, man.
Hey, I appreciate it. Good luck with the show, guys. Take care.
Yeah, thank you, man. And remember next week we have the all-star guitar lineup for Eddie Van Halen tribute, and we're all going to share stories and conversation about our buddy Eddie. And
that is a powerhouse of a show we got next week.
Yeah, it's going to be
we
awesome.
Just got word that I just got it on my phone, the text that David Crosby is going to be on too.
Meh. You know what? I'm not interested. You guys do that one. He actually did his solo show by me here at the Arcada last year, and we're pretty excited. I mean, he is. He's the C of the CSNY, so we're very excited about it.
Yeah.
He gets here and he looks around. He was very, obviously unimpressed at first, but I gave him the meatballs. He was happy, and he really gave him a lot of food. And you know what he did? So you guys obviously been to speakeasy upstairs.
Yeah.
So he said, "I want the room." We got that one of those rooms that are not really private. I got those couches, really nice couches. He literally laid down on the couch, fell asleep snoring like a truck driver after 40 hours, and people are looking around. He had drool coming out of his mouth.
Oh my God!
He had the hat on that was like off to the side on him, and he was just and in the middle of people. It didn't do a whole lot for his persona.
Did you take pictures?
I did. I gotta find. I'll send it to you. I'll tweet it.
Yeah, so that was fun with Dee. I knew Dee would be good.
Oh, Dee's a great. You know what? He's just a classy guy, and again, and he talks about his writing skills and everything. Yeah. And he's one of the most intelligent rock and rollers you'll ever meet. I mean, we were talking about that dinner that we had, with the Tomahawks. And all we talked about, though, we didn't talk about rock and roll from musical or anything like that, or who's your favorite. And it was all about the business of rock and roll.
He's a good business guy.
Oh,
and I didn't know he wrote that song for Celine Dion, because when he told me he moved the house in Belize and he's got the house in Redondo Beach, and I said, wow, where did he make all his money?
Oh yeah, well that's
a lot of. And then I saw that movie he did years ago.
Yeah.
In the 80s, that he wrote and produced and directed, and I was blown away. I said, wow, I didn't know he had that kind of talent. And he said now he's really concentrating, that he doesn't want to go out on tour with Twisted Sister and be up there banging his head for 2 hours. He'd rather do something like what we did at your place with the Platinum Rock All-Stars.
Yeah.
Where he'd come out and sing 2 or 3 songs, and that's it, and then the next guy comes out and everybody shares the stage and there's all the hits, and it's a great show. I think that was one of our best shows that we did with that at your place.
Oh man, it was 3 standing ovations.
Yeah, it was great.
and you know what was, again, with that show, it kind of touches, it speaks a little bit to what I was talking about earlier, that you guys all on stage, again, these aren't a bunch of guys who've been doing it for 40 years, 50 years, 35 years, whatever, that are doing it for a payday. They're bored. I mean, you guys are having more fun, if not as anybody else.
It's all about fun. It's all about fun. Like when me and Vinny do our drum war show, we have such a good time.
I'm telling you, and I'm not blowing smoke up your skirt because I already got this job. But that is one. That is one.
Are you getting paid for this? Because I don't think we are.
I bought a flag. Actually.
I like the flag. That's cool.
Well, this is. You know what? I'm going to tell you a quick story. See, look, if you really look at it, it's a pipe with a twist tie. It's an old mic stand. This is the first flag because I always, go, I go on stage and salute the veterans and stuff. I got flags all over, new flags, really expensive flags. This is the original one, and this is the one I said to this day.
Nice.
Before every show, I've had it probably, I don't know, 35, 40 years with the same. And my guys are like, let me get you a new one. Let me get you. So this is my one. Look at this is you know what this is? This isn't even duct tape.
That's cool.
This is medical tape. It was all medical tape that we got here. So I save it, and it means a lot to me actually. But especially these days, we had this whole Columbus Day thing going on here, as you guys know.
Me and Vinny got a gig. If it's 99% happening, we'll know by next week so we can announce it. It's
a Drum Wars gig.
A Drum Wars gig, really a different kind of thing. You'll enjoy it.
One time we played a couple of years ago. We played Rikers Island.
Right, that's right. Remember that? Yeah, we
went in.
Yeah, the jail. We went in and we did entertains. Well, we never got to the men's area because there was something going on that they locked it down. But we were in the women's area, and we did a Drum Wars thing, and it was wild. You had to go in and you realize, you say to yourself, "Hey, dude, this is going to be really screwed if we can't get out of here."
Yeah, man.
Because you go in, they lock the cell in, and you give them your ID, and show them, then you walk through, and then they lock you in there, and then everywhere from there on is all bars everywhere. You can't get out,
Bob Wire.
Steve Love said it's 99% happening. Steve booked the gig.
So it's a live. I mean, with an audience.
It's live with an audience, and we got some special guests, like a Platinum Rock All Stars thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bunch of people.
Is there any chance you could at least let me know what city it's in? State?
New York State.
Okay, I'm coming. It'll be the first time I'm flying because I can't. I'm serious. Again, one of my favorite shows is the Drum Wars. I would love to see an expansion of that. You know what? And all kidding aside, we'll
let you know.
Please. And all these guys that you've been
introduce us.
Talk to your buddy Steve. Yeah, you could do that. You could be the host.
I would love it. I would love it.
Hey, Steve, what do you think of that? Chime in, Steve. What do you think?
And Steve, can I join in on this project, Steve?
You guys know what? He said no.
You know what? I never liked him.
He said he's getting David Crosby.
Or you know what? The sad part is, if I put a goofy freaking skull cap hat on and the mustache, I could probably pull it off as David freaking Crosby. That's the sad part.
Put the mustache.
That's all you need. We should all wear those mustaches. David Crosby.
Right.
Hey guys,
Vinny, as you know, Vinny does that with me. He puts on tape. He goes out on stage and busts my chops.
He's always busting onions, your brother.
But we have fun.
I did it even when Carmine wasn't there with Sabbath. We'd play a big show, and then we'd come off the stage for the encore. Then I'd put it on, and I'd go back and play. They didn't see it yet. And I'm playing, and Tony comes over, he starts crying, and Ronnie, and they just burst out laughing, man.
So you're obviously the consummate jokester, young man.
Totally.
Is there one that not even, it could be about Carmine? Did you ever do anything that Ozzy or anybody else that you've been around?
Not one time we did, with Tony, we were doing an album in Wales, and Tony pulls up in a new Range Rover. He parks in the front of the studio, and it's kind of getting dark out and stuff. So he comes in the studio and goes, I got a new vehicle. You want to come see it? And so yeah. So the four of us go out there and go, nice, man, brand new Range Rover, beautiful. Long story short, we walk back into the studio. Geezer and Tony go first, then Ronnie and me, and I see a can of oil. So I go to Ronnie, hey, Ron, look, because Ronnie loved that, whatever this stuff happened.
He was a trickster too, huh?
Yeah. You go in, I'll get the oil and pour it underneath the engine. So I did that, and then I come in the studio, and I told Ron, I said, but you got to tell Tony that you see it, because if I do it, he's going to know.
Yeah.
So Ronnie goes in the studio, then he leaves for a minute, then he comes back in, and he goes, hey, Tom, there's oil underneath your car, you know? And he just gets freaked out. What? It's brand new. And we all go out there, and I knew about cars somewhat, fixing them and stuff. So he goes, Vin, can you look underneath? And I look underneath, I'm cracking up. I made something up. It's the seal, Tone, from the transmission.
Yeah.
It's leaking. So, but what happened was he
It's
called the
sealed,
Royal
the singer.
Order Club. We were out in the middle of nowhere. It cost them $400 or something for the club to come out.
Oh, man.
Then we had to tell them. Then the next day, my room was destroyed.
Oh, see?
I opened
See?
it up, and it was like a pyro went off, and furniture upside down. Now, yeah, he got me back real good. But.
Well, I may have to get you back. I got to figure it out, though. But I might have to, chime back at you there.
Oh, we better watch the next gig at the Arcada.
I know. I'm telling you.
He's going to plan something.
That's
Okay.
right. Arcada Wars.
I'll be ready for you. Well, if you do the gig with us, you could think of something there.
Believe me, I think about it every day. I'm going to get you, brother, one day. Hey, you guys, great show tonight. Thank you so much.
Next
Thank you for allowing me to
week,
be a part of it.
tribute to Eddie is going to be awesome, man.
Oh, so we're going to have these guys, you're going to play a little bit, you think, right? Before they get their guitar on, maybe a little.
Well,
little lick here or there?
Ted's going to be on, so he'll probably do something. And Bumblefoot, both of them pulled their guitars out. And even Bruce Kulick pulled his guitar out.
Yeah. That's going to be a
we
monster
never had
show.
Steve. You know, the way we got Steve Morse, I was calling Steve Love, our beloved Steve Love. And I said to my Siri, call Steve Love. And she called Steve Morse.
Oh, he's like, hey.
And I realized he answered, hey, Steve, how you doing? I'm going, oh, well, while I'm on the phone, let me ask him if he would do that. What are you doing next week, you know?
That's awesome, guys. So next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Everybody, make sure you like, you share, tell everybody about this show, Artists on Lockdown, our weekly salute to the greatest members of rock and roll bands, starring Vinny and Carmine, Appice, and Appice. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. We'll see you next week. And me, and little Ron.
Mr. T-shirt. Mr. T-shirt.
T-shirt. I am going to round the corners for you next week.
Hey, you know what? I'm running out of shirts down here to wear.
I'm going to send you some.
Okay.
All right, guys. Love you. Have a good week.
Bye, everybody. See you later.